To Analytics with Nags. This is another video in the end-to-end series where I'm going to teach you SQL Server analysis services from the scratch. So basically this is going to be SSAS tabular model, and if you are looking for SSAS multidimensional, this is not the video for you. For those who don't aware what is tabular and multidimensional, in case of SSAS analysis service, there are two flavors. One is multidimensional model, another thing is tabular model. This complete video is focusing on SSAS tabular model, which is Microsoft currently recommending. With this note, let us begin our today's topic list. What are the things you can learn from this video? So I will start with introduction about SSAS, then moving on to SSAS tabular installation, because SSAS tabular requires certain kind of tools. It is not pretty straightforward. You need SSAS data tools, and then you need to have SQL Server at least to work on SSAS tabular. So that is why I will demonstrate with what are the different tools that you need to install. Then we will verify once you install how you can check all the prerequisite software before working on tabular model, whether it's installed in your PC or not. We will ensure that. Then you need to understand the data modeling, the importance of star schema for building the SSAS tabular model. I will quickly cover that one as well. Once we understand about data modeling, we will start creating the tabular model, that is SSAS tabular model, and where we can create measures, columns, and using DAX, right? So DAX is a language used to create measures and columns, and we will cover those basics as well as part of this video course. And in DAX we will cover measures, calculated column, and calculated table. Once we are done with this 5 steps or topics, we are almost done with the basics. Then it is the practical way, like some of the issues we will face. You need to import additional data, like you need to import a new tables, or you need to import additional columns. Once you develop the initial version of tabular, your project evolves, then you need to import some new dimensions or new fact tables in the same existing model. So how you can do it? So that part I will cover it here. Once we are done this part, we are ready to deployment of your SSAS tabular model, and we will processing the data. Once we are done, then we can schedule it. So whatever development you did till this point has to be regularly run, right? Regularly scheduled, so that your data will get up to date data. So for this is what this scheduled refresh will do. Then finally we will discuss about once you deploy your tabular model in one server or SSAS tabular database, how you can consume it, different ways you can consume the SSAS tabular reports. Then we will discuss some other topics like perspective and how you can access the direct query mode, and row level security, how you can apply. So then till 9 topics are mandatory topics and other things are optional one, but till 9 topics it is mandatory one, and other topics are optional, but I strongly recommend going through the complete video to understand the complete cycle. I hope you are clear now what are the topics you're going to learn as part of this video. Without wasting time, let's begin our introduction about SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Service Tabular Model. So basically one of the key concept of BI, a business intelligence using Microsoft technology, is to create a model, and that is using a tabular model, and that is what we are going to see. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS. Before understanding about the SSAS tabular model, let us walk through our BI architecture so that we will be more aligned, and what role the SSAS plays in the BI and how it can help in people to consume the data. So we have sources and data preparation, and this is using SSIS, and tabular model or modeling comes over here. As you can see, this layer is semantic layer, is nothing but you can create either multi-dimensional cubes or tabular model. Power BI, the Microsoft is recommending the SSAS tabular model as the default for now, because that is a future. This is legacy, but still both are important based on different business scenarios. You need to choose between those. And other layer is like Power BI. So this entire layer is reporting layer. I have split up into two, like Power BI desktop and Power BI report server. That is two different layers of it. And what this SQL server data tools is all about. Basically, this layer, till this layer, all your data resides in a database. You are familiar with this. You can extract and load it temporarily, and you need to store somewhere, and then you need to do kind of dimensional modeling here, fact and dimensions. So this will reside in RDBMS. So this layer is another server. Basically, this resides in database engine. This resides in analysis engine, like as Microsoft SQL Server analysis services. If you install, it will give you another server. So basically this is residing in another server. This will be stored as a database, and from that like you connecting to files or databases, Power BI can connect to SSAS as a live connection or import from a tabular model or multidimensional cube. That is the flow. So this is all about Power BI, BI architecture, and in which SSAS plays important role of it. Let us see what it is. So it's basically a tabular model or in-memory database in analysis services. In-memory means all your data will be stored in a RAM. So answering a request from a RAM is much quicker than answering from the database. So that is the main advantage of it. So how all this the data fit into RAM? It uses a compression algorithms. I will walk you through some of the techniques. I'm not going to cover all the things, but just for giving you idea what it uses. And multi-threaded query processor. So that asking queries from directly from database, instead of from here, if you ask queries from here, it will be 10x faster, since all your data is compressed, and it uses multi-threaded query processor and compression algorithms. So X velocity in-memory analytics engine delivers fast access to tabular model objects. So you can easily access the data. Then having a model segregated from reporting Power BI near the layers, like unified model. You can model it here, so any other functional area people can consume it. No need to model separately for individual departments or something like that. So it is one single place all your models reside. From there you can consume it. So unified model, also another reason you need to go for tabular model. So let us see how this tabular model is so fast, because it uses X velocity engine. But how this data fit into RAM? Let's see with some examples. So it uses dictionary encoding. Basically, like you have a column in your table which contains a color, right? So instead of referring actually the storing red, what it will do is it will create some index for each distinct values. First, for each column in your table, whatever table you have, for each column it will create dictionary columns. Like for color column, it will create 0, 1, 2, 3 as ID. So it will store in the RAM with IDs, not with the entire table with these values. So it will create dictionary and your data will be encoded. So when you convert it, your data storage will be less. That is how it can fit into a RAM. So all your datas are encoded and then stored. That is one of the thing you need to understand. Another technique it uses is row length encoding. Like you have repeated values. So what it will do, for it against each row, it will have some number from row 1 to row till 310 rows. The value is q1. So it will store only this information instead of storing q and q. Then while retrieving a data, corresponding data will be mapped. So how it will fetch, that is very complex part that no need to know as a end user, but to have a basic understanding how you people will imagine, like how the entire 1 GB or 2 GB or 50 GB data is fit into RAM. It uses encoding as well as compression techniques. So these are different techniques it uses so that all your data fit into RAM. And moreover, like Power BI internally uses tabular model. Forget about this. If you are not having a dedicated SSAS tabular model, that is fine. But once you have it, you are offloading the load from Power BI. That is one of the important aspect of it. Assume you do not have any of this architecture. You want to create only Power BI. So Power BI internally has SSAS analysis service internally, because as you know, Power BI also uses as well as it all your data fits into RAM. It uses same technology whatever is going to be demonstrated in this playlist. So same thing it uses here. Okay, that is how Power BI also can store the data into the RAM. And once you have a dedicated tabular model, it cannot create a edit mode. So once you make it as live connection, then all your changes to be happened here. So Power BI just as a reporting purpose only you will use it. So these are some of the key things I want to highlight. Let's try to understand much better about tabular model and when we need to go for it. And one last thing I want to highlight is like this is typically a on-premise tabular model, and if you want to go for Azure, it is same. The concept wise, the building, the cube, tabular model wise, everything is same. Just you are deploying the model in the Azure instead of your on-premise. We are going to walk through only for on-premise tabular model. Let's see in a upcoming videos how to what are the tools required to build a tabular model, and what are the softwares you need to install. We're going to see or set up SQL Server Analysis Service and what are the softwares required in order to build the analysis service model. So we know this model, BI architecture. So now what are the different things? So let me explain it from this perspective. And okay, let us go here and come again there. So what softwares to be there? If you already have some SQL Server DBMS, that is database engine that you use to store tables, then no need to install SQL Server again. Whatever it can be, 2012 14 version is fine. You need to have that. Then you need to install SQL Server Analysis Service, that we will see it now. So, and SQL Server Data Tools, this tool is used to create this cube, okay, or SSAS tabular model. That is why this tool needs to be installed. And once it is deployed and we need to process the tabular model manually, sometimes we require Management Studio. So these are the softwares you need to be in handy, before working without any issues. And management studio is also optional, but still you need to browse and check it whether it's deployed properly or not. For that it is required. Let us see all these four softwares. Let us try to compare it in the architecture. Now, first thing is like DBMS. So where it will get the data? Usually it's from the database or data warehouse. So that is why you need to have SQL Server DBMS on your system. Then this once you in order to build this tabular model, how you will build using this data tools. Data tools is a software that will contain BI related tools, like you can create ETL tools, you can create SSAS cubes, and you can create SSRS cubes, SSRS reports as well. So data tools is a combination of three modules, not only three, it has other, but predominantly we use data tools for these three purposes. So using data tools and using analysis service, you will create the tabular model. For that you need these data tools. And analysis service, as I said, using a software you will install it. And management studio is a client tool that use it to connect to database or tabular model. You can browse it. Those things we will see it once we install it. So with this note, let us jump into a demo. So all these things can be installed and using this single link. And one more thing I want to highlight is like this particular thing, you may require some prerequisite .NET framework in your system. If you already have, that is fine. And if you are installing for your organization, you need to check with your DBAs or administrator who manages the systems. Let us try to launch it. So basically I'm using only the evolution version. So just use this SQL Server link or any other link if you want. So start your evaluation as a exe or Azure. Click on exe, that you are going to download it locally and install it, and that will hold good for 180 days. This is only for those who are learning these technologies. For actual scenarios in your organization, you can go for enterprise or developer based on the licensing capabilities. For this is for those who are practicing on their own. So go for evolution and just click continue. Provide the descriptive names. I hope your Gmail also is fine. Just click on OK. Then it will prompt you for some details. Let us go for it. Last name, I will say analytics with nags. Continue. So once you are done, you can able to download. So it's already happened. Once it is done, just it is downloaded now. Once it is downloaded, just click on it, and it will ask for some options, like how you do it, like whether you want Microsoft or SQL Server to install the default options, or you want to choose custom. So choose appropriate options, and based on that different things will come. So basically select basic installation type, that will install the database engine with default configuration. So I would recommend go for custom. You can choose what you want. Just follow my instruction, and this will what it will do is, after extracting all the software, it will put it in this folder, local folder. Then you can again double click on the exe file and install it. So that is where the folder is asking. Choose some folder and click on install. Okay, so let us go for SQL and SQL 2019 and install. It will download all the setup files, and we will wait for the download to complete. Once you have done with that custom option, then once it is downloaded, it will prompt you for this option, and it is like planning what your system configuration you want to check, what are the things you need to do. That just it's a planning, and you need to click on installation. So whatever we saw in the presentation over here, like these tools, DBMS, Analysis, Data Tools, Management Studio, you can download it from here. Okay, I mean everywhere. So basically this will lead you to the link. So first we will start with installing your database engine and analysis service. With these two things we will start. For that you need to go here, that is new SQL Server standalone. Go to this. So just check if there is any update. That's fine. Click on next. Then it's checking for any updates after we download, because we will keep it in our local, and we will not do it. So I don't want product update. I just downloaded. That's fine. So install setup files. Now it is checking whether it's fine or not, and it's setting some firewall rules. It is my local system, so there is some issue with the firewall. That's okay. Then I already installed this and I have a name like Naga MSBI tab, so that is fine. This is for demonstration I'm doing. So perform new installation of SQL Server. Just click on it. You can have multiple instances, and if you have a license you can put it. This is evolution which will expire in 180 days. Just keep it as next. The one most important aspect of is clicking licensing terms is fine. The important aspect where you will choose these options, right? What I'm doing, so I need to choose only this and this. Okay, SQL Server comes with all the features you see here: database engine, and you have analysis service, you have a data client, integration service, what you want to install. Okay, that is why we choose custom. Otherwise if you choose default at the beginning, then that will install what are the basic options are required for installing a database engine. It will install. So choose this one, database engine services as well as analysis service. So this two will install you the this option will install database engine. This option will install you the analysis service. Okay, next window we will see what mode you want. So as you are aware, analysis service comes with a multi-dimensional tabular, so you will choose in next screen. Just click on next now for now. So future rules, it will prompt you, and give the name for the instance just as you like. I will say Naga, I will say test for now. I'm not going to install it. As you want to install it, I mean I already installed it. Just going to cancel it. Okay, so after choosing that, you give account name. If you are administrator, you are not part of the administration, that is fine. Those who are in admin, they can able to configure these accounts. They have some service account, using that they will configure it. Now some other configurations like database engine configuration, who is I mean admin for this, whether he's required mixed mode, you have some set some SA password or Windows authentication. I will go for default option, current add current user as my admin. Then this is what I want to highlight. So here you see the options. This playlist is all about tabular model. Please choose this one so that it will be sync. So if you choose some other option, even if you are installing some other versions, if the option is choose as multidimensional, switch to tabular. okay, tabular mode, then use current mode. So that will install your analysis services as a server, okay, in your system. So this is the option. Then finally you click on next. It will see all the rules, whatever it is installed, it will check everything. Then click on install. It will take some time, and once it is done we will be back. So I'm not going to do it as I already installed it. So once it is installed, let me tell you what happens. So quick, and it installed in a few minutes. So now we have successfully installed analysis service tabular model, and it doesn't contain SQL Server database engine. Okay, and let us try to launch this analysis service, and we can proceed further. How to create tabular cubes. Okay, we have seen like we have already installed database engine and analysis service engine, and the screen you have seen before, like it contains only analysis service because database engine I already installed as I mentioned before. So let us try to install these two. So what you need to do, so the folder you have given, okay, that contains these packages, that extraction package, just click on once again, okay, that will prompt you the same options. The first two softwares we installed using this option. Now you are going to install the data tools, okay, that is used to create the cubes. Okay, for that click on this. Again it will prompt you to this link. Okay, then you can install it using Visual Studio installer. It is saying either you can go for it or you can download it from here. I already have a Visual Studio 2017. Just install it from here. Okay, so you can click on this particular standalone installer, then it will follow the instruction. It's just it will require some double click. Okay, this is step number 2. Once you install, it will appear like this: Visual Studio 2017 SSDT. Okay, once you launch it, it will appear like that. So I didn't I'm not doing it because it is already part of it. So the steps are very much clear. Go to this link, from navigate from here, data tools, and do it. The second link, one last thing is SQL Server Management Studio, that also available in this link. Just click on it. It will again prompt you to download the latest SQL Server Management Studio. This I will do it because I hope I do not have latest one, and it is little more. It requires 635 MB. Let us wait for some more time. Once it is installed or downloaded, let me install it. Okay, the SQL Server Management Studio is downloaded. Let us try to install it. Double click it. That will prompt as some window, and that will walk us through installation steps. Click on S. Yes, what it is asking. It's saying Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio with Azure Data Studio as well. So this is the latest file I'm installing, so it will install everything. Let us go for it. It's always good, right? I mean, anyway, in future everything is in Azure, so obviously it is good to install the latest softwares, whichever is required. I think it will take a couple of minutes. Let's come back once it is done. Okay, I think the Microsoft Management Studio is installed and it requires a restart. So basically, now we have installed DBMS, Analysis Service, Data Tools, and Management Studio. And Data Tools, I didn't show a demo. These two, as well as Management Studio, are shown in this demo, as I already installed certain tools, so I'm skipped it. So in your case, you do the appropriate installation. Now after restart, let us try to launch all these tools, whether it's working fine or not, in our next. So we will just launch all the installed softwares and check everything is ready for building the analysis service cubes or tabular model. And just quick we check this one. So to understand it better, all these softwares, let me stick to this architecture and explain it in this perspective. So we have installed the database engine and analysis services. So these two are installed now. Where you can check, this is database engine and this is analysis service engine. Just go to the services.msc and you can check it. And what are these two? Like data tools. So using data tools, you can create this tabular model, right? So for this, you can choose SSTT and you can check it. Management Studio, once you are connected, you can connect any of this, I mean DBMS and analysis service. The Management Studio is a client tool. You can connect to tabular model or you can connect to this. So data tools and SSMS are the tools. This is a client tool. SSMS, it is not mentioned here. Assume there is SSMS here and you can able to connect it. SS data tools to create this tabular model. Let us try to launch it and check it. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS. First, we'll start with DBMS. So go to services.msc. So to ensure that everything works fine, you put SQL. So you can see here there are a lot of things you have installed, and in my system you see here this is the database engine, provides the storage, processing, control, access data. So something with only SQL server is your DBMS. So it is not running now. Just right click and start. I usually prefer the manual because I'm not working much on my personal computer, and in your case of your organization it should be always running. Okay, so choose appropriate option. It should be automatic. Whenever you are restarting, it will run. Okay, and the next part is like what is analysis service, right? You can see multiple analysis service here. Let me explain it what it is. So basically this is the analysis service tabular model, and another version is like SQL Server Analysis Service multi-dimensional model. So I have both the versions here. Both are running in different service or server. Okay, that is what it is actually. So you can see it here, and you have data tools and management studio. Let us try to check it in another I mean to say another options. So in services.msc you can check two things. One is SQL Server and SQL Server Analysis Services. Okay, let us close it. And you have seen like reporting service and integration service also installed, because I'm going to work on it. Now we have verified these two, and let us check SSMS first. Try to connect these two. So I have different versions. Whatever we install latestly, it is 2018. Let us try to launch it. So once it is first time it is launching, so it will take some time. Let us bear for a minute. So using SSMS, you can connect to data warehouse and SQL server analysis service. So it is launching Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and which is the latest one. There you go. So you can see here your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio is launched. This is the client tool to connect to your servers. So database engine. So this is where you need to choose. So first, database engine. This is the default option. Choose that one and give your server name. So my server name is nothing but whatever services it is running. Okay. You see here. Now let us try to connect it. It will throw me an error. Oh no, it launched. That's good. So basically server that is installed with my that is my I'm using personal computer, my laptop name. And this is database engine. I already had different databases like AdventureWorks, and I have created my own personal databases. So I have these options. If you are not if you are launching for very first time, you will not get to see these databases. So basically what it contains list of tables like here, like fact, sales. Even if you can go here, you can see my two-dimensional tables, that is relational tables. You can see the data over here. That is what management studio is all about. You can query the database and see the data, and most of you guys are familiar with this. And next is like launching the first I connected to DBMS, and using analysis service I need to connect, right? So analysis service, this is your model server name. It is detected what is this server name available, then you can connect. So at present there is no databases exist in the tabular model. So you can see the difference here. This is using SSMS. I connected to the DBMS, the database, and tabular model as well. But currently I do not have any project. I think I have created some of them. In your case, if you are launching for the very first time, it won't have anything over here. So that is absolutely fine. So basically it has not created any project now, just you are accessing the tabular model using SSMS. So where you actually create the tabular model, that is using the data tools. So this is the tool. I'm going to launch it. So now we verified DBMS is installed. Whether it's installed or not, you go to the services.msc, it is running, and you can launch and connect and check it using management studio. In order to create a cube, you need to go for data tools. That is, cube means tabular model. You need to go for data tools. Let us try to launch it. So SS is, so if you are new to this technologies, you will be a little bit confusing what to do, what tools to use. That is why I am repeating most of the content. So data tools, like once you launch it, SSDT, new project. So once you click on it, you can see here data tools. You have business intelligence, you have an integration service, that is ETL packages, and analysis services. You have multidimensional and tabular. This is for creating SSAS MDX cubes. You need to choose tabular and click on this one, tabular project. Okay. We will create the cube in our next video. This is to ensure all your softwares are installed properly. I hope everything is fine. This is how you need to check it. To see about what is stat schema and why the stat schema is so important in data warehouse or modeling part. We are in BI architecture now, and you can see here where the star schema comes over here is like the star schema has to be created over here, that is in data warehouse.
Let us come from the beginning. So the data sources have databases. So these systems are meant for running your business fastly. So these systems are optimized for insert, okay, that is OLTP systems, and the modeling used here is entity relationship model. Whereas in the data warehouse layer, in this layer, you need to convert your data into a modeling called star schema or dimensional modeling, where if you create it, the performance will be faster because this system is meant for reporting. User is always going to select rather than inserting. Your insertion or ingestion will happen during the off time, like during the night time after business hours. But always during the business hours, people will keep on questioning or asking select queries. So it should be optimized for select queries or querying. So the ultimate aim of building a data warehouse is to create a star schema. So how many star schemas you need to have? It depends upon your modules. Basically consider a sales module. You have a fact for sales and it can be a different reselling or something like return. For that, there can be two different facts surrounded by sales module dimensions. It can be a location, who is the customer, date, and products, what products. So this is your star schema. And for HR module, you can have another fact table surrounded by its own dimensions. So it is like how many modules or subject areas you have, that many star schemas you can have. It purely depends upon your business. And also the each star schema subject area I'm saying is called your data marts. In your data marts you can have multiple fact tables. Sales is considered as one data mart, HR is considered as another data mart, finance can be another data mart. So each data mart is nothing but your fact tables and its related objects. With this note, let us move on to some new I want to introduce some new concept or new terminologies so that it will be familiar. So in data warehouse world, these are two terminologies everyone should aware. That is fact or measures. So fact is nothing but what you want to analyze is your facts. Like what is my sales? What is my profit? What is my customer's preference? So these are the numerical quantities that you want to aggregate and see. That is what your facts. And dimensions is like by which you want to analyze is your dimension. Meaning like I want to analyze my sales by location in different perspective or different angle. I want to see these measures. That is what your dimensions is. So sales by location, product or period, and I want to see my total profit by this location and in this product for over a particular period. So this is what your fact and dimension is all about. So we have a one fact table surrounded by different dimensions. That is what your ultimate aim of building a data warehouse for each subject area. Let us try to understand more about it. So typically, this is a classic example of sales table of some garment shop. Assume it can be a garment or any other retailer, right? So assume it can be a garment, okay? So it can be like this is like receipt number and which location, and these are the customer information, and this is your product information, and these are the some numerical quantities like measurable quantities, item price, quantity, tax amount. So having a information like this is fine, but you see like there are a lot of disadvantages of having this information, like customer name, everything. This customer name is entered if he is entering for the first time, and if again he is visiting, the name is repeated over here, right? So the modeling in this is the application level modeling. How they want to do is like they want to separate these entities in different tables, so you no need to maintain this information, the customer GST number, mobile number, at each of the transactions. So that is what an entity relationship model is. Similarly, for product, you need to create some master information and store it. Okay, so when you store this information like this, you have a data repeated, as I said in this example, and memory consumption is more. So the optimized way of storing in data warehouse is to convert this table. Basically, this is how a table looks like in your business, that is OLTP system. Basically, it will not look exactly the same for each of this information. There will be separate tables, but it will be more optimized for insert. Okay, that is to understand. I have used in a single table. So our aim is to convert into a star schema. So this is the table, input table, the source table that at the top. We need to convert into this form. Like this is my fact table. What it will contain? It will contain the key columns here, like receipt number and location. Also, you will have another dimension. Forget about it. It's a mistake here. So customer, what you are to doing is you will take the distinct values of customer and generate a numerical quantity here. You see here one, and for product, if you take a distinct values and generate some encoding value instead of saying storing the values as something like a text. Okay, so you assign some values over here, that is numerical values, that will have less storage. Basically, a character will take 8 bytes, whereas integer will take 4 bytes. Assume you have a product name that has something like car or supercar. Assume like that. So supercar contains super 5 characters and car is 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So each character takes 8 bytes. So 8 into 8, 64 bytes it will take. Whereas the integer value will take only the 4 bytes. Integer can store something around some million values. I mean to say like 32, how a value, a power of 32. So it will store something some million values. So from 0 to some million, it will have only 4 bytes. So instead of having 64 bytes, in 4 bytes you can refer this particular values. So convert your all your values into your unique values, like assigning some integer values here. This is your dimension table. So each dimension or master table you need to convert like this. Assign a keys in dimensions. Then you have to look up and generate your fact table referring this key columns instead of storing the actual values. Say for example, here instead of Naga, I assign the value as 1 here. Okay, for Naga this is the 1 here. So 1 will be stored here instead of Naga. So my fact table size will get reduced. So this is just giving you the idea of how the star schema, how you need to populate star schema. So let us see in next screen. Like this is how it should look like. Your fact sales will have all your foreign keys, nothing but your these tables are considered as primary key tables. Like for each product you will have one entry, for each customer you have one entry, for each state you have one entry, and this column is considered primary key, and this will be referring your foreign keys, the fact table, because it will have a duplicate and it will repeat it, right? So same customer, different customers buy same product, so this customer also buy 302, this customer also 302. Basically this primary key is referred here in the fact table, so it is called a foreign key. So all this fact table will contain the foreign keys of your dimension tables, and your dimension table have your primary keys over here. So this is what we call it as star schema. So basically, from entity relationship model, you need to convert your one of the module into star schema. That is what it is. Then what happens? There are advantages, like you are referring only the numerical values here. Okay, so in your fact table you will only have your integer values. So all these key values are reference primary keys. The primary key, obviously it will be integer values, and you have only the measures is something you are aggregatable, that is also numerical values. I'm going through walk through the how from a source table it is converted into star schema using a AdventureWorks database. Let's try to launch this AdventureWorks database and check how this database looks in OLTP system, and it looks how it is implemented in data warehousing as a star schema. Let's jump into a demo. Let me launch SSMS. So I have a latest one. Let us go for it. Management Studio. It will take a couple of seconds. Okay, so here choose the database engine. I hope we have multiple services, right? It's a database engine or analysis services, whatever you have installed. In this case, you go for database engine, and this is my server name. Let's try to connect it, and you can see the list of databases over here, like AdventureWorks and AdventureWorks DW2014. This is your OLTP system. In our architecture, if you want me to explain, this is the part. So this AdventureWorks database, whatever we are seeing here, it's basically the OLTP system, the source. Okay, from this we will populate this data warehouse. So this is my personal system, so I have both my OLTP system and data warehouse in the same server database engine. In normal scenario and in organization, this will be in one server, that AdventureWorks, and AdventureWorks DW will be in another server, completely in new server. Okay, so this is again, it's going to be a database. Okay, so assuming this is in another server, so you need to connect same like how I connected here. This is the server name, so this database will reside in there. So these two is available in the internet. You can download it using MDF file. Now what I'm trying to explain, so let us try to see the structure, how this tables look like. So this is my OLTP system. As I mentioned before, this system is meant for optimizing your business. So you see here all the tables are in entity relationship model. So to explain it, I think we can have some diagram over here. Let me see here. Yes, so not it's not having a diagram, that's fine. I think in data warehouse we can see it. So basically these columns, let us take one of the module like sales header. You can see here there are two things. One is header, that is having all the information, like let us try to query it, then you can see it better. So here you have some data like order date, and you have something like a due date, ship date, status, online. Everything is number, I mean purchase order number, account number, customer ID, sales person ID. Okay, so all these things are available here, and for this you have some of the related tables. Okay, so here assume you have shipment method, so you can go and see here shipment method. Where is that? That is not a correct one. Let us go for territory ID. So you have say a territory ID. Here it is like sales territory ID. So here you have IDs here. Let us try to query it. You see here territory ID is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and these are the different areas. So that is what it is referred here. So here also they usually create some primary and foreign keys. So when you have advantages, like you assume here instead of salesperson ID, instead of integer in your entity relationship model, you are having the person name itself. At that time your data warehouse will be more optimized. This is properly designed, the AdventureWorks DB. But what I'm trying to convey here is, you have salesperson ID is created as integer here, because here I explained like you are getting the data here in this OLTP system like this, and you are creating a unique column over here, the key column. Okay, that is because in your source system you do not have primary key, I mean some integer column created for your name, for say for example customer name. They are maintaining the customer name itself instead of maintaining a key or ID. Then it will be a very complex to store in your data warehouse. So in those cases you will generate the key in your site. Okay, that is what I'm trying to highlight it here. So this is OLTP system. This is properly already designed where you can get different keys here. So this is what from this you have your OLTP system. You need to do ETL, that is using SSIS or any other ETL tools. You transform this data from this place to data warehouse. Okay, using SSIS I can say. So once you transformed, you can see the same module over here, like fact internet sales. So here there is no header or detail concept that you're transforming here, right? So here in this case of sales you have header, detail, and other sales reasons, some other different things. For sales header itself you have two tables, whereas once you transform it, you will define only one table here. For sales header and detail, it will be merged into single table. That is the logic. That is what we need. You need to have certain kind of ETL transformation of your data to put it into here. So here you have sales header detail, but once you come here it will be sales fact internet sales. That's it. So you need to merge certain tables, you need to ignore certain records, filter it out. Those operations you can do using SSIS. That is what ETL part. So once you do that, how your star schema will look like? There is different diagrams. As I said before, each fact, I mean each subject area, you will create one fact, or it can be one or two facts based on different granularity in each subject area. Assuming the sales subject area, you have internet sales. Okay, let's try to see this, how it looks like a star schema. Let's go for finance. It will look exactly typical star schema. Over here you see the fact finance. The ultimate aim is to convert into fact and surrounded by different dimensions. So fact table is there, you have different dimensions surrounded by it. So this is what your data warehouse is all about, creating small data marts like for each department that will become your enterprise data warehouse. Again, moving back to internet sales. Internet sales where date is connected three times, because you have shipment date and order date, other dates. So three times it is connected. Okay, using a foreign key. I mean to say, here all the date table. Here the dim date will be a primary key here, the date key, and you see here date key, and you have this column. When you highlight it, it says like dim date fact internet sales. It can be one of the relationship, like you have order date, due date, ship date. So each will be different dates. So these are foreign keys. Okay, order date is one of the foreign key, due date is another foreign key, like that. Let us take this example. There is some promotions happening, so for each promotion they are creating one key, and that key is referred here. Okay, what I tried to convey in using a sales territory, right? Let us try to see it using this example. uh, um, the sales territory over here, this is what you see here. The sales territory key, again it is repeated. Alternate key is nothing but your whatever you receive it from the OLTP system. Okay, let me refresh that one. What I'm trying to convey here, you see the AdventureWorks 2014 territory ID. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and this is stored in one particular table. This table is transformed into dimension. Usually whatever the master information is transformed into a dimension. This is transformed here, but you see a minor difference over here. um, there is another entry 11. That is fine, I will explain it in some other videos what is that. So for each, this is your alternative key is nothing but whatever you receive it from the OLTP source. And in case of data warehouse, you need to explicitly create one key in this data warehouse. For this is nothing but your surrogate key. The purpose of surrogate key is say alternative key for you. Okay, and why it is required is like, assume instead of 1234 over here, territory ID is some combination of characters, NWH something like that. So the occupancy will be more. I mean the the storage it occupies will be more. uh, that is why you need to convert equivalent numerical values, so that your storage will be very less in your fact tables. Especially this is not very helpful when you convert into dimension, because all this master informations is going to be referred in your fact internet sales, right? So you can see here sales territory 1 to 10. So there might be thousands or crores of, I mean, it can be millions of records, but those millions of records storing as an integer doesn't have any impact. I mean, it will have very less impact. So you see your fact table, you have all the dimension keys, foreign keys over here, that is everything is surrogate keys, and you have only the numerical values. Your fact will exactly look like this: key reference from dimension tables and due. So these are different dimensions: sales territory, promotion, currency, everything. Okay, then you have your measures. So you guys understand how what is task schema, data marts, and you have different fact table for each data marts, and your task schema is nothing but facts surrounded by different dimensions. How to create our SSAS tabular model. So the prerequisite is like you need to have all the required softwares, and you need to create your stat schema ready. Without stat schema also you can create using a single table, that is absolutely fine, but that is a recommended practice. Like now we have seen our previous videos, like what is stat schema, and the sales fact table and finance fact table, different data mats. Now in this video we are going to create this SSAS tabular model and deploy it in the another server. That is what end objective of this video. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS. Let's jump into a demo. So to create cubes, as I told, it's part of SSDT. You are going to create one solution file. We'll say it as solution file. Okay, that will create a SSAS tabular model. And as you might aware, like SSDT data tools, it's a combination of tools like SSIS and SSRS and other related tools as well. To create ETL packages, you go for SSIS, and for creating cubes, you need to go for analysis service, then reporting service. In our case, now we are going for analysis service tabular. And in this, you have three options: analysis service tabular project, import from Power Pivot, and import from server. So these two options we will discuss it later. For creating a new project, you need to choose this one, analysis service tabular project. Let me store it in this project. It is ADV YouTube demo. Okay, AdventureWorks YouTube demo. So whether you need to create a subdirectory or create a directory for a solution, click OK. That's okay, absolutely fine. Now it will prompt for some options, like whether you need to choose integrated workspace, workspace server, and some option over here. Okay, and let me go through it quickly. So integrated workspace, like when you create a analysis servers, it's a different architecture. It requires that services to be run in your system. So integrated workspace will simulate the analysis service if you are not installed it. So just use this one if your local system doesn't have this one. And in our case, we already installed SQL Server Analysis Service, so all the workloads will be happening over here. Okay, so you choose this option now. Then the compatibility level should be 2016, because there are certain options. If you choose the latest one, your import from tables look 2019. The import from tables will look same like your Power BI, if you are familiar with. Like it uses mQuery kind of UI. So default option you choose for this for now 2016 RTM, which will be a conventional one. We will try to do it in changing the compatible letters, compatible level later videos. Let us proceed with this. Once you click on it, then you will get a window over here, like the project, the solution explorer, and along with tabular model explorer. These are two different tabs you will receive it. Like solution explorer is like solution is something like your project, and it creates one model file. Okay, this model file, when you double click on it, it will navigate to this one, tabular model explorer. Okay, so let me walk through this what it is. So entire thing is stored in your model. Okay, the entire project model BIM, and you can see here these two tabs I already explained. Now in the tabular explorer, you are going to perform all these things. Basically the data sources is like where your data resides. So in case of your architecture, this particular server details you are providing it in the data sources. Okay, it will not import any tables, just a connection to the database. Then you can create KPIs, then measures, relationship, or other things. So first we will go for data sources and import tables. Then what will happen? Let us see one by one. Let us try to create a import from data source. So my source is SQL Server. You can see other sources that SSAS Tabular can connect. Typically relational databases like Azure or Azure SQL, then IBM, other databases, and it can also connect another multidimensional. So you can get it from Excel and text files. So there are very limited connections. Okay, if it is not connecting listed here, you need to use OLDB or ODBC connection. There is generic connection mechanism. In our case, let us go for SQL Server. Click on next. My server name is over here. This is my server name. Let me copy it and put it over here. then give some friendly name like ADV data warehouse. Okay, that is my friendly name. That indicates if you have multiple, you're reading from different databases, you need to identify which database. Okay, that is why ADV data warehouse. Then this database resides in this server. Which database you want to connect? Okay, you need to choose the AdventureWorks data warehouse. Then use Windows authentication to connect. The next step is very important. The impersonation services. So the analysis service over here, it has to read via some account. Using which account from analysis service it has to contact. Okay, so that is what you give service account. The service account is nothing but in which service, the account which used to run the analysis service. Using that account you connect to my database. That is what you are saying. So let us walk through that later. Now once it is done, so this is very important point. Maybe I will show it right now. So go to services.msc. This step is mandatory, otherwise if you miss it, it will throw error. So give the service account. In case of organization, you will have some. Okay, let me show what I'm trying to say. Having so this service account will be run using some account, right? You see here, log on. This to run this particular services. So okay, or account. So in your go to your database and in your this is your data warehouse, and in the security you need to add this account. Okay, that OLAP security account. How to add it? Just go to new login, then give just like put it like him, right? I mean Naga. Just you can do it easily. I mean, just copy that name and just get it one. Okay, just go here and get this name and put it over here. Okay, log on. Just get this guy and go here. Just put it here. Check names, it will be there. So just put this one and give the user roles. Okay, different which database he has to access. Give this database he wants to connect to. Okay, this is one of the additional steps you need to do. So all these things you no need to do as a developer in the current, I mean in your organization setup. These things will be a part of a DBA job. They will configure one account for you. For now we need to do it. So add that particular service account, analyst service account, in the new login. This already added. Let me open it and show it to you. This particular account, what are the roles? Public, then user mapping. This particular database he has rights to read it. Okay, then go to this database and check this particular user, this Naga MSPA tab, that is the service account. Then owned schemas should be DB owner or DB reader based on the privileges. If you are practicing, you go for DB owner, and in your actual scenario it can be DB reader. That is more than enough. It's this users should just read the data, so no need of DB ownership. Okay, so this thing is a mandatory step, otherwise it will throw error. Now use the service account. This is another important step. Then select from the list of tables and views to choose to import the data. So now once you created the data source, I think as I said before, it's not only creating the data source there, but the data source will be stored here. Whatever you're choosing it will be listed here. Okay, so it has two steps. All the two steps it's performing. Let me choose fact internet sales. That is the all-time favorite. Then if the foreign key primary key is defined in the database, you can choose select related tables here. Okay, so this table along with all the primary key tables, these are related tables. Okay, those things also will be selected. Okay, then click on finish. So it will try to import all your data into your SSAS development tools. I mean, it's a project. It's you are trying to build a cube. Okay, it's not like a coding, so it's a GUI to create your cubes. So now you can see these are the relationship it's already created, as the foreign and primary key is defined in the data warehouse already. You can see a fact internet sales column. You see all these things are foreign keys. Okay, so the relationship is explicitly defined here. That is why you see all the relationships are already created. Okay, where you can see it, so let me explain this one. Now you have imported this. Now there are two different views of it. So this is grid view and the diagram view. Diagram view is nothing but you want to create a relationship over here. Okay, that is what the diagram view is all about. Say for example, I can delete this relationship here for now, and then I can explicitly create it. Delete from model. Okay. Once it is not related, the filtration will not apply. Okay. How to create a relationship now? Just click on it. I mean to say, drag and drop also will do. Like drag and drop it in customer key. That is easy way to create. Otherwise, click on a table and create a relationship. This is another way of creating a relationship. uh, I will explain what is the benefit of creating a relationship. Only then you can do a filtering. If you are familiar with Power BI, so this is typically your modeling task. Whatever you do the modeling, everything you are doing it here. So you are segregating your modeling part from Power BI. That is a key objective of. So you can create a relationship, and then you come here in the grid view. What you can see is like you can see each table whatever you are imported. I see, like I click on fact, and these are the related tables that I have already imported in this model. Now in order to see the data of it, just click on each table in the tab below it, then you can see it here. Okay, so this is fine. Now as I said in my previous videos, the ultimate aim of your cube is to create some measures. Fact means you should have measures. So whatever numerical values you have it here, right? The total, tax, sales amount. This will not be actually created in turn. Okay, you can this is basically measures, but in SSAS, you can explicitly create some other calculations. Okay, for that you use a language called DAX. So I want basically now sum of sales amount. Okay, you have all these grids area. You can write those formulas over here. Say for example, what is the syntax to write? Let me zoom it up. Click on it. Okay, it should start with some name like sales amount. So you need to click on this grid and the formula right here. The syntax is you need to give a name and semicolon equal to. Okay, it's not equal to. Equal to operator is used to compare the results or assign values. So here in order to assign to this particular measure name, the syntax is name of the measure. It can have spaces and then followed by colon equal to. Then you write DAX, simple DAX, sum of cells. It will list all possible columns. Okay, that can be summed up. So I put here. That's it. So this is one of the simple measure that will summed up. See, this is what it will have is like it will store the aggregated value in the fact table. The entire results is stored here. Okay, that is sum of this particular column. Okay, It's like Excel formula, right? Typically people say like DAX is similar to Excel formula. It is as such. Now you can do something else, like I can create sum of tax amount. Okay, let me do it for you. So you are writing all your formulas here. Okay, sales amount, tax amount. Okay, that is tax amount is my sum. Now what I need to do here, right? Uh, the sales amount and so now we have sales amount and the tax amount. Okay, so the sales amount minus tax amount is my profit. So let us try to write some formula for profit. Profit equals sales. So I already calculated these two measures that will appear here. So it's typically like writing formula in Excel, but when the calculation goes complex, this will not be easy as Excel. So now you see, like those who are familiar with Excel, they can write it, this cell minus this cell. That is what it is saying, sales amount minus tax amount. Okay, instead of referring the cell reference, you will refer with the names, measure names. Okay, that is what it is. So this is for your beginning understanding. You need to import a table and you need to create a relationship here, that using a relationship, and in the grid views in fact tables you can write a measure. Of course you are not restricted to write measures in dimensions as well, like you can have a count of distinct count of members in your dimension tables also can be a measure. So you can write all your calculations in each table. Okay, so whether you can ask me whether I cannot write a distinct count of sales territory in this fact table. You can still write. This is just for manageability, like measures won't be against each table. You can write it across a model. Okay, measures is against a model. So with this note, let us try to deploy this model. So now just going back to the architecture, like using this data tools, we have designed the model here, and this is residing one in your solution file. This file is your local file. It can be stored in D drive, F drive, or it can be version controlled. It can be stored anywhere. It can be stored in the cloud also. It's just a file. So using this file, you are reading from here and deploy it here. So this acts as an intermediate layer to create these cubes. Okay, just as a GUI. So now we have built it. Now you are going to deploy it. How to deploy it? Just go to Solution Explorer, then click on this particular tab. Okay, there is solution file. Go to properties, then here you give your analysis service server name. So make sure that you are giving the proper analysis service server name. You see, when you try to connect to SQL server, right, very first time, you can have different options. You have SQL server, that is database engine. Here you have Tabular server. You give this particular name. Okay, that is what I have given it here. Okay, then give a name. So it can be ADV YouTube demo. That's it. Then what about this processing? Let us discuss this later. Now these are the different options. In this server we are going to deploy this database. As I mentioned before, this is another database. Click OK. Everything looks fine for me, and build the project. if there is any calculation issues, everything will be determined or identified in this build phase. Then once it is successfully built, you can deploy the project, deploy solution. So it says server is latest. You want to upgrade the maybe the compatibility level. Then it's not required right now. Let me go for no. Deploy solution. Do not show me again. Yes. So success. So you see, like very quickly it has read all these records and stored in a tabular model. Okay, so then how this tabular model will look like? Connect to the tabular model, then connect here. And one thing I want to show here is like this is the cube or tabular model we have built and deployed it. And what is this demo in Nagendra KG? What is this? So this is basically like you were in the initial when I open data tools, I choose the two options: integrated workspace or dedicated server, right? So when I choose the server, it is creating a temporary model here. Whatever you are working here, that is all this work temporarily stored here. Okay, once we close this solution file, this will also be closed. Okay, now we have deployed it. That is why this database came. Let us try to see what are the things available here. You have the tables, just like database tables, it is appearing, and you have a connection. So you are accessing the model in the database. So how to analyze the data? Either you can use new query, MDX or DAX. So you can use DAX to query it here if you are familiar with. In my case, I will go for Excel. In Excel I can connect, or in Power BI I can connect. So either way you can, whichever is familiar for you. So this SSAS is stored in a database. You are accessing this from any reporting tool. First we will try to get it from yes, let us get it from the analyst service in Excel. Okay, let us try to copy it. It will not come as such. It is very tricky. Let me take it from here. Okay, so in Excel I'm giving this name. I put this one. You see different models appearing. So I've chosen AdventureWorks which database. Click on this, next, and click finish. So it will appear as a pivot table. Okay, you can analyze using a pivot table, how you analyze in Excel. So now these are the two measures we have created: sales, tax, and profit. Now you see these measures appear here. Okay, and I want to analyze in different perspective, like different dimensionality, like which gender. In female, this is my sales, and you can have from other dimensions, like from which product. Okay, product, English product name, let me put that one. So these are the different products, and maybe I will put it here in the columns axis. So you see here, these are the different products sold by different, you are viewing the sales amount in different dimensions. That is what your analysis service cubes will do. So typically we created the cube here and deployed here from using a data tools, and using Excel files we are trying to access it. Okay, and all the star schema and how you analyze the tables, it will be 10x faster instead of picking out from here, because all this possible combination of your dimensionality is stored in your SSAS cubes. So you can have multiple dimensions here to analyze. To see about
How to format measures or columns in SSAS tabular model. You may ever like we can create some columns measures or for the existing columns you need to format some kind of settings, right? It can be 1,000 separator or you need to have two decimal places, so some kind of formatting you need to do. So where that option exists, that's what we are going to see in. Now we are in SSAS, like we have already familiar with all these things, relationship and different tables available. We already created some of the meshes. Like here you can see here like a sales amount without having any formatting, like whatever the data available here that has, I mean the calculations we have done, it is depicting the actual value. So sometimes we need only the two decimal places, and after for 1,000 separator should be there. So in this like 982, after this you need to have a schema like 1,000 separator, right? So these kind of formattings you can apply either for the measures as well as for the columns. Like over here, even here there is no formatting applied. Here you can see like it is applied as rupees, Indian rupees. It can be changed to different currencies as well. So these formattings even for the date columns, right? So let us try to see it where that option available. So when you right click on it, the options won't be available even when you click on the column. The option is to get the properties of this column is like you need to press F4. So the properties window will be appearing here, right? When you click on a column or measure, then F4. That will give you the properties option. Then here you can see the general. Usually the formatting will be general. Now for this, what I want to do is I want two decimal places and 1,000 separator. For that, go to the format option, then choose decimal number. Whole number means it will be rounded off, and then you choose show 1,000 separator, right? False to true. So now you can see the difference between these two, which is not formatted, the tax amount not formatted. Here you can see the formatted option, 2 comma 93 comma 58677. So like this it will get formatted. So this is fine for the measures or numerical values. So sometimes you want to choose something like currency kind of thing, right? You can choose different currencies as well. Now it is chosen as Indian rupees, and it can be like some other euro currency as well. So like this also you can able to choose for the column level. Okay, so these are different properties of formatting options. I quickly want to show one more column, like say for example, here instead of showing 3 7 20 10, I want to show it as a month, right? 7, that is 4th of June or July. Okay, 4th of July, 5th of July, something like that. Or just we will try to create a maximum value from this, then we will try to write it. Okay, so max date. So as you can ever write, we need to put semicolon equals to give the name of the measure. I'm going to get maximum of full alternative date key. So whichever is having maximum. This will give me 31/12/2014, that is the latest date. So instead of showing it as like this, I want like December 2014, something like that. No need to show the date. So for that, click on that column, go to general, make that data type as date. Then after that you will get the option to format. Here date format, what format you want. So you can choose over here. So this is what I want. So December 2014. So this is so useful. Even you can use custom formatting, like over here. I mean there are different custom formatting available, so those functions also you can use. So now you can see custom, instead of 333 I can choose YYY, something like that. So December 3-digit character, and you will get
the actual value. Maybe it's not coming, so just it's just like that. Okay, you can define it properly so that the corresponding data will appear. Now let's see what was here earlier, then same thing we can replicate. So it should be hyphen or somewhere small y. So for capital letters, the for year you need to mention it with the small y, like this. Okay, that is why the custom format doesn't work. That's absolutely fine. You can play around it to get your measures or columns formatted respectively. We are going to see about what is DAX, and if you are looking for what is calculated column or measures in SSAS. Basically, DAX is all about creating some calculations, and that should work dynamically. And if you want to compute some derived column in SSAS tabular, that is called your calculated columns. Let us try to see the differences when to use what in this video. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS. Let us try to understand what is DAX. DAX is a library of functions and operators that can be combined to build formulas and expressions used by Microsoft BI tools. And it's a functional language where full code is kept inside a function. So this is a book definition of it. So if you are not good enough to understand this definition, just consider it like this. You want to compute some calculations like sum of sales, or sum of sales plus minus the tax amount equals to profit. So these kind of calculation that should happen dynamically. Then you need to go for a formula. You will write some formulas, right, in Excel. In SSAS we will call it as DAX. Okay, writing a formulas is your DAX, as simple as that. So when you have DAX, when you learn DAX, where and all it will be useful. Predominantly it's used in Power BI, Power Pivot, SSAS Tabular, Azure Analysis Service. So all these things is works on based on the tabular model. Okay, so the all these tools. So once you learn DAX, you can use any of these tools. I mean, you can apply your DAX code in all these tools. Because underlying logic behind all these technologies are same. Okay, that is why DAX, when you learn, it is multiple benefits for you. You can easily cope up with other tools, AS and Power BI or Azure Analysis Service. With this introduction, let us go on to what is calculated column and measure. So you will use DAX predominantly for this purpose. Like either you want to create some derived column or calculated column, or you will create measures. Measures are set calculations that happens dynamically. So let us see what is a calculated column. So calculated column expands table by creating a new column. Stored along with the table consumes memory, less analytical capability. Meaning like you have a table, and we will shortly see the example so that it will be easy for you. And what about the measures? Measures is summarizes the data into single value. Okay, so it returns single value, and based on the data you want to view, it will be splitted. Okay, I mean it will be sliced and diced. Calculated at runtime, no storage of your physical storage involved. Only the calculations are stored as a metadata script. This is the calculation you need to do. That is what it is, and it will not be stored anywhere. I mean, while you are viewing the data, it is temporarily stored. As soon as you close your session, then the measures are not stored anywhere. Just the calculation script are stored. Rich analytical capabilities. That is the core logic behind this. So let us quickly see some examples so that it will be very easy to understand. So you want to create a new column, right? So you have a product item and you have a category. You need to combine it and put it in a new column. In those cases, you can have the formula like this. Product item, this is the concatenator symbol, ampersand. concatenated with hyphen and product category. So you have 10 rows, 4 columns in a table. Okay, and when you have this code, you will have a fifth column that is for all 10 rows. That is your calculated column. This is one of the typical example. Even you can calculate this sales amount minus cost amount as a calculated column. That happens row by row. Okay, let us see here. Now what about this one, right? This is the example of measures, like what you want to do. So you have 1,000 rows in your transaction and you have 10 columns, and one of the column called sales amount. For those 1,000 rows you have some sales amount. You want to sum it up, okay, aggregation, and store this value. You want to see the whole, what is my total sales, and after computing this total sales you will slice and dice like different dimensions, like by product how much sales, by location how much sales. So this will happen dynamically at the time of your drag and dropping your analysis. Okay, it's typically like a pivot table when you create it. So I mean this, so basically what predominant difference when calculator measure is that these are physically stored, okay, in your storage device, and whereas measures, it will not be stored. That is the main difference. Similarly, you can see that sum of sales and sum of cost amount. The difference here is it will happen row by row. For each row it will calculate this sales amount, and if you have 1,000 rows it will happen row by row. Whereas this calculation for those 1,000 rows, this will have we give it one value. Say for example 10,000 is your total sales and cost price is something around 3,000. Okay, so total value, so this will be calculated only once, for only one scalar value subtraction, 10,000 minus 3,000. That is your calculation will happen. Okay, it will sum it up. After that it will perform this operation. Okay, that is the key difference between your calculated column and a measure. Another typical example over here, previous year sales, like you want to calculate the sum of sales and you need to wrap it around a calculate function on top of it. Calculate is a powerful DAX function that will alter your filter context. So it will be like same period last year sales date. So what this calculation doing is like, this is trying to calculate the sales for the same period last year, assuming you are viewing the data 2018 January. When you analyze it, it will have the 2018 data January with 2017 year January. So you are trying to get the previous year same period. Even if you are working with a quarter, that will have a previous quarter value comparing. Okay, so that calculation will be resulted using simple calculation. So that is what it is. Basically, like you see the definition, it's a library of functions and operators that can be combined to build formulas. Like this is your typical formula. Okay, and you have, this is sum is one function, this is same period last year is one function. These are different functions. It contains lot of functions. That is your library of functions, and use it to calculate some behavior. I mean, what you call, that is called your DAX. So using DAX, either you can create calculated column or measures, and using this you will implement a lot of other features. That is what it is so important, and it is used in all these different tools. So now we will quickly see a demo in how to create a measure and calculated column in SSAS tabular model, and after that I would like to suggest, I'm not going to take all the DAX calculations, since you see like we have a dedicated DAX playlist in this channel where you will have a lot of DAX functions, where what is the use case of it. Same DAX functions you can also use it in SSAS tabular model itself. So this video is all about giving you the overview of DAX. Someone who is new to this channel or new to this newly learning SSAS for them to give a quick introduction about what is DAX, what is calculated column and measure is all about. And when you go through this, and whatever logic used here, it will be implemented in Power BI. Same code, you can use it in SSAS as well. So all the DAX functions, remaining DAX functions, you can refer this playlist. The link to this playlist will also be given in the description as well. With this note, let us try to create a calculated column and a measure in SSAS tabular model. So let me open SSAS tabular model now. So in our previous video, we have already opened SSAS, created and deployed one of the tabular model. The best way to open is like go to recent and you can choose recent tab, but I would like to suggest go and open project and navigate to the path. Okay, so basically here it will be in videos, SSAS projects. Okay, so you have a solution file. As I said, this is the main solution file that will have all your entire content. This is your project file. Okay, solution file will say. So click on that. This file I have created in my previous video, like create your first SSAS tabular model. Just watch that video if you have not seen that one. So this is our tabular model view. This is solution explorer we have seen, and we already created one of the DAX measure here. You see here, this is the area for each table. You have a lot of space here underneath a table in the tabular model, tabular model explorer view. For each table you have different cells, like it's like writing Excel formulas. So we have already written some of the DAX. You see sum of sales amount, right? First we will try to create a calculated column as we mentioned before. And what I'm going to do, so I will combine these two columns, like let us say like product alternative key and product name. Okay, for that, go at the end, just click on give a product new name, just like that. Then start entering the formula at the top, right? Click on this column. You can see at the top here, you can start writing the formula. So you start entering the column name, the product alternative key, dim product, that there is a huge, lot of columns here. Product alternative key, ampersand, right? As I said, we are going to implement it. So there are different attributes and things you need to learn. See, this ampersand is not for strings. If you use it, is considered as concatenation. Okay, so and then product English name, product. Okay, let us go and navigate it here. English description. Okay, that's it. So once you put it enter, you see here I think description is empty. No, English product name. So I put description, that's why it is English. You put it here, another one will appear. Just put enter. Now you can see I combined this product alternative key and product name, and mentioned here, right? This is the thing. So product new name. So what happened now, for each row in this product table, it has stored, so it involves some storage. Okay, all the values are stored here. That is the key objective of it. That is the calculated column. You want to derive a new column, that is stored here. Whereas you go to the sales amount, the DAX for writing a measure, right? This is also a DAX. So this is typically a DAX to create a calculated column. And for writing a measure, right, you need to click on here. So this area is for measure area, creating a measure. You cannot create a calculated column here. Calculated columns can be created only on top of, next to the another columns. So this measure area, Now already we have written it, just we will try to write some other formula which is over here, like sum of sales minus sum of cost amount. Okay, let us try to write it. So I don't think we have a cost amount here. We will write, see, we have already written one tax here, sum of sales and sum of tax. So total profit is nothing but sales amount minus cost amount. So either you can write it, you can subtract sales amount minus tax amount after calculating like this, or you can write directly profit new equals, as I said, you need to put semicolon and equals to, so sum of, there should not be any space, okay, first of all, sum of sales amount, sum of sales amount minus sum of tax amount. You see here, as I said, this is just a calculation. Okay, both gives the same value, because what I profit happening here is you are subtracting measure 1 minus measure 2. Here I am directly calculating that those two calculations. Here I'm ignoring the entire thing. Okay, forget about it. So basically what I'm doing it here. So you see the difference between calculated column. Here each row for the value is stored. Here the measure, it is not stored as each column, so it's a calculation, the total of this particular sales, total of tax amount, that will calculated and stored here. So when you analyze by different dimensions by product, this will be splitted. So there are 5 products, so each product contributes somewhere around $50,000 something, so it will be splitted and it will show. So that is how this calculation will work. So that is the best practice to create measure. Okay, so you will understand what is calculated column and what is measure and when to use it, right? So create a table using a DAX and SSAS tabular model, or whether if you are looking for how to create a calculated table in SSAS tabular model, basically either it can be a measure or a calculated column, you need to use DAX. Similarly, in order to create a table, that user defined table, then you need to use DAX as well. Let's jump into a demo. We are having this tabular model that you are familiar with, like we have built a model from SSAS analyst service AdventureWorks, where you can see a fact table is connected with different dimension tables. Now in order to create a model here, like you need to go to the tabular view. Then there are different ways to create, and one of the easiest ways is like you assume you want to duplicate this dim product. Okay, so what you need to do, click on this icon, one over here, right over here, whatever you are seeing here. So this will create a calculated table. So I just want to duplicate the dim product, so just put dim product over here. Then what will happen, just say it. So it will replicate the same column here. I will rename it as duplicate product. Okay, so this will be useful when you have some kind of disconnected dimension you want to create and you want to manipulate it. Let's see how it looks like. So here this is the dim product that is connected. Whatever you created here, that will be disconnected. So you are duplicating this product, dim product, okay, over here, duplicate of product. This is simple way of creating it. So this doesn't involve much of tax. Let us try to create a calculated table using sales territory. So in this, I want these two columns to be a separate table, like distinct values of these two columns, like country and group. How to do it? So let's see, right, one more table, click on that plus icon, so that will create, I will say country and group. Okay, let us rename it later. Now try to type the formula. The formula is summarize. I mean, there are different ways to create. I want to go for this. So summarize the table name. Table name is dim sales territory. comma, you need to mention those two column names. One is country, another thing is group. So this basically use the group by operation. Let's try to view this code, the summarize, and you can see here the formula here. The summarize of this table, these two has created one of two columns. So here I can rename it as country. Here you can click on it or rename it. Let me rename it here. It's okay. Here once you click enter, then only there is an issue with working on it. That's absolutely fine. So after pressing enter, it will create calculated table 1. Then here you can rename it as country region. So this has created a table. So this table persistent, I mean this will be stored actually. Okay, it's like another table. Now you can see here from the sales territory there are 11 records, and the combination of these two gives you totally there are multiple records, right? I mean 7 records. So country region over here. So this contains 7 records. So this is what calculated table is, which is nothing but creating a derived table in SSAS using DAX. So another table has created here. You can see the country region here that is not connected. If there is some relationship you need to make, you obviously can go and make it. We're going to see how to add new tables in SSAS. Basically, like SSAS tabular model, once you import all the tables, and it will create a relationship. I mean, if you are importing from database and the underlying database has a relationship, it will automatically create, and if not, you will manually create it. And sometimes what happens, there are some scenarios you need to add tables manually after you created and deployed your model. Let us see what are those scenarios in this video. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS tabular model. So basically we have some scenarios like we have a fact table surrounded by different dimensions. Assume there are 5 dimensions surrounded by a fact table, and there are 6 dimensions newly added in your fact. So at that time you need to add a table into your model, then create relationship, or if it is already exists, you no need to do it. And sometimes, like after doing one of the fact and dimension, you want to import other fact table and dimensions into a model. Maybe a same data mart, say sales domain, and you have 2 different fact tables. For that you need to add in the same model. Another scenario is like you missed to add a table in the model, then you need to add it. So there can be different scenarios. Basically you want to import a table after you created a model and deployed it. Okay, that is how where to choose this option. Let us see. So this is our model, and you can see we have some tables. I'm going to demonstrate only one scenario where you have missed one of the dimension, and for all other scenarios it's going to be same. So you see here a promotion key. So this table has a promotion key, but we didn't added the dimension here. How to add it? So we need to add it from the data sources. Okay, from this data sources, from where this exists. Okay, it will come from the data source, right? So click on this table and import new tables. So it will prompt for 2 options: select from the list of tables and write a query that specifies data to import. Let's go for a default option. Then here we will choose our table, what we need to import. Like we need a promotion that we have missed already. Then click on finish. So it's importing. It contains 16 rows. Let us click on it. Okay. Now you can see this is not directly related, so we will try to create a relationship. So either you can drag and drop. I want to do it manually, so click on any of the table. If you right click on this sheet, it will not prompt you anything. Click on any of the table, then click on create relationship. Now choose column promotion key with a fact table promotion key, right? It is already it's with, because of the same name it has detected the relationship. Click on OK. This is fine. So this is how you need to import a table, mister table. It can be a new dimension design as well. I mean to say, you want to import 5 to 6 tables, then you can design it easily over here. I mean, you have imported another fact table with 2 to 3 dimensions. That will be a separate fact and star schema that is not disturbing this existing star schema. That is also absolutely fine. You can, but you can still view the same designs over here. We are going to see about how to import few columns from a table in a SSAS tabular model. Consider like you have a table, very big table, it can be a dimension or fact, and it contains multiple columns, and those are not used for your real analysis. You need to skip it, right? So for that, there are different ways to do it. One of the best way I would suggest is that writing views in the database layer, then use those. So whatever columns required for the model, use that only those columns in the view, then you can import it. This is one. But sometime you do not have control over the database. In those cases, you can do on your side in SSAS tabular model. Let us see in this video. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS tabular model. So there are two scenarios I'm seeing, like while importing for the very first time, how you can do is write SQL queries, right? That is your solution. You can write SQL query from a big table, like you have a table with 20 columns. You choose only 10 columns in the select statement, then you can use it. Then after importing, you might be in a support project, or you will be once in the beginning you have imported a table and where you need to remove such conditions, so that you want to improve your performance, right? That option I will show it to you. So what is the benefit of it? So it's a clean model. You will not have any confusion when you have required columns. Then your performance will be really good of doing this exercise. Let us jump into a demo. Let's see the first scenario. So I have a model here, like we recently imported a dim promotions that is not available, but you can see here there are a lot of columns that is not used at all, right? I want only the English name. This scenario, I'm not going to use any of the other columns. Let us take only the discount price or discount point, then I will put it right here. So I'll just write simple select query like this, discount. I want only the 3 columns, so write a select query like this, then I can import it. So I have this column already, but I want to import it new column. Instead of directly fetching it from a new table, I mean from a table options, I can write a query. That is what the first option is. So this exercise you can do if you do not have a control over database. So how to do it? Just go to import new tables. So from here, select from list of tables views. Instead, you go for write a query that specify a data to import. Here you write a query. Here I will say like promotion optimize, something like that. Okay, let us validate the query. Yes, it's valid. Then let's finish it. So promotion optimized, you can see here the new table over here, it's importing now. So promotion optimized contains only the 3 columns over here, whereas you have promotions which have multiple columns, which is not at all required. So the storage of your model will be typically optimized, right? So this is what I want to say. While importing itself, you can do. Okay, now you see here, this is already imported. How can I do it, right? You cannot delete this model and reply. That is too risky in your production environment. So the one of the thing is like you want to reduce the columns of the existing table. Like click on this table, then click on table properties, right? So basically there are other ways you might have thought of, right? Once you imported, you can do like click on it here and delete columns, right? Or you want to delete the selected columns permanently? You can say yes, but let us try to see that one. So go here, table properties. You see, I mean, okay, this has selected it here. So basically you come here and remove whatever columns you do not want. You can see promotion category, everything I don't want, delete it here. Okay, so you have deleted, you do not want anything except those in the optimize. This is another way of doing. I'm just trying to explain what you need to do. So you can delete those columns and you go and select it here, dim promotion, table properties. You see here there is something like unchecked here. So all these columns will not be read from the source itself, right? So that is what it is. So the basically the option you have is either you can delete in this way or go to this table. Assume you want to add another column here. So go to this table properties. I want something like English promotion discount something. Okay, new column. Now it will appear here. So this is how you can play around the English promotion type. There is no discount, volume discount, like that. Okay, so I told two things. One, while you importing itself, you can write a query. Once you import it, either you can delete the columns here or you can use the table properties. So these are two options available to reduce your columns so that your model will be performant efficient. We're going to see about what is a deployment and processing option in SSAS tabular model. Let us try to understand what is the deployment and processing in using our data warehouse architecture. Basically, we are aware, like using a data tools, we need to develop a SSAS tabular model, and that sourced from data warehouse or Excel or any other source systems. And you need to store this model that is developed in data tools in SSAS server. That is the concept. Now, when you developed, you need to, whatever development you did, right? The metadata, you need to fetch some columns and you need to remove certain columns. You are creating calculations, measures, all other stuffs, you are doing it here. So those structural changes, you are storing it in the server. That is called your deployment. So once you deployed it here, the structure is stored here, and it has to read the data from data warehouse or the source system here. That is called processing. So the deployment and processing are two different terminologies, but both are close together. When you need processing or deployment, when you deploy it, always you need to process it, obviously, right? That is what it is, always together, but both are different purpose, right? Both solves a different purpose, basically. With this note, let us try to explore. We are in SSAS tabular model now, like in data tools. We have created this AdventureWorks YouTube demo cube that contains a simple model using a fact interval cells. Now we already deployed this model in the analysis service engine. I'm in management studio. How you can connect is like using analyst service. You give the server name and connect it. That will prompt you these things. So we have already deployed it here, and you can see one of the temporary solution file created. This is because, the temporary database created. This is because we have created integrated service. While opening a solution file, you have prompted for two options. One is integrated server or dedicated server, analyst server. So that is why we gave dedicated server. So that is why it is appearing here. That's fine. So now coming to our topic, the deployment. So we have brought all the objects here and removed some of the unwanted columns. So these are the structural changes that cube will have. So what is a deployment and processing option where it exists. So you go to the solution explorer, that is BAM model.bam. So the model.bam model is nothing but this is the model file that will store all the metadata, right? Metadata means whatever calculations you created. This is nothing but we have already created 2 to 3 meshes like sales of tax amount. These are some of the text and this is stored in this particular measure, right? So this measure is nothing but one of the variable or column. It's not a column basically. What I'm trying to say is it will not store any deployment doesn't store any of these values. Basically it stores the column headers, what is the data type. The metadata means these are the data about the data. That is what the definition of metadata. So these kind of structural and metadata information will be stored in the server. So go to here, the deployment, the solution explorer, click on this icon, that is project. Now go to properties. There you get an option like deployment options, like, so what are this default and do not process and full? Let me tell it later in this video. Processing option. So basically in the deployment you need to provide the server name. You can deploy it in some other server name if you want, and you can give the database name. Okay, that is what this deployment is all about. So once you click on OK, let us try to see like when you want to deploy, like any changes you are doing it here, that has to be replicated, affected in the model. Now you can see here the table contains a list of columns, right? Dim currency. I want to remove one of the column, a table from here. Say for example sales dim territory, I do not want it. So how I need to do it? So go to here, the table explorer, then sales territory, delete table. Now as soon as you save this one, okay, you are saving this file. So basically you are did the changes in here. This is not reflected here in the tabular model. Even you can see in the management studio that sales, I will refresh it. So sales territory still exists, but this change whatever I did has to be reflected there. There is some error. I think I have created from I derived this table from there. So let us delete this table as well. That's okay. So now I deleted some of the tables and this is not reflecting in the server. So deployment is nothing but you need to store that one, the changes. So let us go here and deploy. Now you can see processing in progress. This I gave as a processing option as default. That will decide whether what kind of processing it has to do. Default means analysis service will decide what should happen. Right now you can see here when I go and refresh the database. Now you can see the sales territory is gone now. Okay, so this is what the deployment. Any changes to your model, you need to come over here and you do the changes and you go and deploy it. Now I want to explain the processing option. What is the processing options? Now I put default. Default means analysis service will decide what has to be done. Now when I put do not process, okay, do not process means do not process my data. Okay, I told before, like deployment means structural changes it will reply, and process will read the data from the source and store it here. So do not process means you deploy it, the changes, but don't read the data from the source and store it in another service. That is what do not process. Let us try to, I have changed it. Let us try to deploy it now. Now you can see there is no processing option. Now only the metadata is deployed. The processing option is not happening. I do not process any data. So this is the key difference. So when you want to go for do not processes, like using your initial development, you are don't want to waste your time in processing, because you just want to reflect the structural changes. You want to add some table, you want to remove one column. See, this is very sample data, that's why it's very quick. In production environment, if you process it, it will take more than 10 to 20 minutes also. So during those development times, you do not wish to process each time. Only the structural changes has to reflect in the analysis service. So at that time, you use do not process. While your development or any other structural changes you do, at that time, it will be very effective. So what full process will do? So the full process, nothing but all the data from your source will be recreated. I mean, it is like when you create an hierarchy or some other kind of partitioning over here, the full process will recreate everything. That is what a full processing will do. So let us try to, I have changed the full processing. Let us try to process it, I mean deploy it again. Go to Solution Explorer and deploy. Now you see metadata deployed. What happened? I think I didn't saved it. Do not process is still there. I didn't press OK. Now press OK. Now deploy it. Now you see the processing option. So basically this is the two different terminologies you should aware. Deploy means deploying the content structural changes. Processing means reading the data from the source and storing it in the analysis service. These are two important concepts in SSAS you should be aware of. And there are different processing options. Process default, process full, and do not process. There are about how to process a schedule refresh SSAS tabular model. People from Power BI background can understand what is schedule refresh is, but there is no concept called schedule refresh in SSAS. But for understanding those who are from Power BI, the schedule refresh and processing SSAS is same. That is what I mentioned here. With this note, let us jump in. So we are familiar with this architecture, and now the thing is, like, using data tools, we can build tabular model and deploy it in the SSAS server. So while building it, it is reading the data from data warehouse, and this tool will store in RAM and then deploy it in the database. And while doing the development of the tabular model, we need this tool. Once it is over, we no more require these data tools. The data should be read from data warehouse, and SSAS Cube should read it. So this can be achieved using a SSAS. That is what we are going to demonstrate it here. So let us jump into this video. Like, prerequisite is we have built the SSAS cube and deployed it here in the tabular server. Then going forward, say for example you have data till 25th of December 2020. On 26th you are getting the data. On 26th night the data should reflect it here. So we need to read from data warehouse and put it here. We have already seen the concept of reading the data and loading in SSAS is called processing. Deployment is only you do the changes in the data tools that will be deployed here. So we are going to see the regular data processing from data warehouse to SSAS in this video. Let us jump into SSIS now. So we try to open the SSAS package. This I already built. This is sample solution file. So let us try to create one package that will call our SSAS cube processing. So we already have a package here. While I'm demonstrating SSIS, the separate playlist, and that you can able to understand it better. So I opened a package. In that I dragged and drop one of the tasks
what task I'm going to do? Analysis service processing task. In this, I want to choose the connection. So there is no connection yet. So let us try to edit it. So this is analysis service. It's not an local host. The server name is this. Not this one. Let us try to get it from here. Analysis service. Go to the project. Put your server name. Then initial catalog. There you go. This is the cube that I want to process. So click on OK. Click on OK. Then it will display list of objects for me. Okay, what are the things I need to process? I'll choose the entire model. I want to process the entire thing. You can choose different objects to process different period. So here already we have seen process full, process clear, data, all these things I explained in the processing video. Just go and watch it. So let us go for process full and click on OK. Now what we did. So again I'm revamping. So using data tools we have created it. So that solution is here. So this solution is no more required once you deploy the cube. We have already seen this is the cube that is deployed, that is stored over here, right? I mean to say in the analysis service. The AD AdventureWorks YouTube cube demo is stored here. What I did, I choose this database in the SSIS, okay, and in this database what are the things I want to process? I want to process the entire model. Even I can choose individual objects like only these tables, something like that, but I want to go for entire model. I choose this model and keep it as process full. Okay, then click on OK. Now this is done. Now whenever there is a change in data in the AdventureWorks, okay, we can process this step, this SSIS, then that will get updated. So that is the concept behind it. Now let us try to run this one, execute task. So this is what it's doing is, like you can see, started processing partition, the same thing, whatever message you get while processing, everything you will get it here. So this is done. Now this is absolutely fine. Like when you go to the architecture, so this line is nothing but SSIS is doing, SSIS integration service is doing, reading data from here and putting it. But this is not automated. This will not happen daily basis, right? So how to automate it? So the package that you have created should be stored in SSIS some other server, and we need to schedule it. Okay, so basically you are creating one job, and that job is calling this particular SSIS package. The job is scheduled. That is what the concept behind it. So let us try to store this package in one of the catalog. So I'm not going deep into this. So let us try to deploy this in the SSIS server. Okay, we need to store this package somewhere, and the server is the same server. That is my here. There you go. Then Windows authentication, connect, and path. I have already created it, some folder before doing this. I'm storing this package. So basically what I did, now I have created a package that will process the cube. This package I've stored in a database. So in SSIS we can store this package over here, like you see here. Let me refresh it. Now you get a project test SSIS. That is what my package is. So test SSIS, inside you have a package 1. Okay, even I can rename it. That's for fine. I mean, that is absolutely fine. Now for simplicity we will ignore it. Now what I need to do,
I need to create a job, okay, that will run this package. So let us try to create a job. Run SSAS, okay, that is the job name. Just in that I need to create one step called process job, okay. Now this is integration service package. Run as a service agent account. In the catalog, what server, the same server I copied. You need to choose a package once again here. Okay, this is just to creating a job. Okay, this job should be scheduled on daily basis, so run it daily, right? Okay, I will say like run daily, or based on your frequency of your data whenever it has to be run. Okay, I will say daily occurs at 1 p.m. okay, just for our simplicity I'm creating it. Now this is the job I have created. Now once again I revamp. Now we have created SSAS package. That package stored in one database. That database we have scheduled job, okay, from that database that we are calling that the job is calling that package. That does what it does. It will read from data warehouse and populate it here, okay. That is what it is doing. So these many things we need to do it, like we can start see job this job is running. Now you can, so this job we are now I'm manually running it daily. We don't need to run because this job will call the package. That package will call the processing history. So I hope it is fine. So once the job is completed, it will be automated like daily basis. So this is how you will process the data on regular basis. See about how to read or access data from SSAS tabular model. Basically, we have built a model and we have deployed the model in the tabular server, right? SSAS tabular server. And once you have done that, what are the different possibilities of reading from it? What are the different tools you can use? That's what we are going to see in this video. So till this we are familiar now. We have deployed and what are the different processing options, everything we have seen in our previous videos. And once you are deployed, different tools you can use, right? Is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, that is to connect to your client. Like, I mean, it's a client tool that can connect to the server and then read. Microsoft Excel, all-time favorite, the universal tool that you can use to connect to your SSAS tabular, and you can analyze using a pivot table model. And the main purpose, like I mean the Power BI desktop, can also consume the data from the SSAS tabular model. One of the key aspect of once you connect to using Power BI desktop is like it will be live connection. You cannot have more control over here. You can only create some kind of calculated measures, and most of the other changes you cannot have. I mean implement in Power BI desktop. Any changes to the model has to be done here. Let us try to walk through all these sources once you connect. And all these sources once you connect, it will fire a DAX query and get results from it. So all the tools are capable of firing a DAX query can able to connect. I'm just saying only those examples. There are other tools can able to connect to SSAS tabular model as well. With this note, let us try to search in a demo. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button right now to learn the concepts in SSAS. Let us try to first use SSMS. So we deployed the model here in our server, and this is the database, right? So we connected in SQL Server Management Studio, and we have here. So to write a query, right click on this database, new query. You can either write a MDX, it can also support MDX. I'll go for DAX for now. So to get the data to see the data, it all starts with evaluate and fact internet sales. So this is to like select star from table name from your SQL similar query. Okay, if you want to query a table, entire table, you will use evaluate, right? I mean a select star from table. Similarly, evaluate will result whatever evaluating in this context, that will be returned here. I mean in the query, that will be written. So now evaluate fact internet sales, I just want to see the data. This is the query. Now I want to select some table here, some like a product, evaluate, and just I want to see how many records and what is this product. I mean I want to see only this filtering this particular product. It requires a lot of DAX to be known, so people are not so familiar with DAX. Let us try to write it. Dim product, and the dim product English name. I want to filter only one particular product. Okay, that is flat washer. It is very small. Bear with me. Okay, this is how you need to filter one particular record. So it's not very easy for end user to write always a queries. In order to analyze much, you can write multiple DAX queries to analyze. Okay, this is one way of doing. This is more technical. Most of them are not aware. Just for your information, I'm just trying to familiarize with you guys. So let us not focus on this, because it is more whoever is tech savvy and those who want to write DAX query, capable of writing DAX queries, go for this option. And if you do not have any other tools to access. And the second option available is like Excel. I have shown SSMS and Excel. Let us try to see that one. Microsoft Excel. So once if you are familiar with the pivot table, those who are analyzing the data, they are almost familiar with the pivoting concept. So similarly, you will get it. So here, go to data from new sources. Okay, or you can go for get data also. I think get data from database. Okay, and you can find an option called from analysis service. Provide the server name here. Let me copy it, and this is my server name /naga msbi tabular. Go for Windows authentication. There you go. I can see a model here. You can have a different tabular model. Choose your model, I mean the database, and you can have a model name. Here this name also can be changed, that you need to by default it will be a model. So once you choose your database, you will have your model, a cube, a table. Then click on next, then just click finish. It will say some option, just click on it. Now you can see your model comes with pivot table, like all the dimensions comes over here, and you can see the meshes, whatever meshes you have created, that comes over here. So just you can click on sales amount, and I want to analyze by product color. There you go. So these color products are sold this much and over different period. Like I want to analyze by period on top. So in 2010, this is the black color product has sold this much, like that you can analyze. So pivoting, you can analyze it. That is the core concept of it, and it will be much faster from if you are reading it from the cube. Now finally, I'll show from Power BI. This is my Power BI. Just get data and go for analysis services in this case, and same thing over here. Put your server name. Naga MSBI tab is my server name. That is my instance name. Database is optional. You can import and connect live. This is the two options. Okay, so import means all your SSAS data will be imported, and connect live means you are connecting live. There won't be any, I mean, data won't be stored in the Power BI layer. I have a separate video in the Power BI playlist. Just go and watch it if you're not familiar. In this case, I will go for connect live. Now again you will get option, just click on it. There you go. So you will get list of fields over here. Now you see a lot of options are disabled, get data, and you have nothing to change. Even you cannot able to create a new column. You see here you can create only the measure, not a new column. So if you want to create a column, you need to go to the modeling, that is SSAS tabular model, create it here and deploy it in your server. Then from here you are reading it from Power BI. Let's try to create a simple sales measure over here like what we have put. So this is the data sales using a tab 29.3 million. I will get this value and put it across different product. um, Say for example there will be a huge number of product. Let's go for it. So there you go. So there are different products over here and you can analyze it. So it's like I'm not going deep into how you create Power BI reports here. Just I'm trying to ensure like you can what are the different tools you can create SSAS tabular model. Power BI is the one, and this is the way how you can develop the Power BI reports beautifully. That I have a separate playlist, complete playlist that you can see and learn it. We are going to see about what is a perspective in SSAS tabular model. Basically, perspective is like it can be when you compare to the database level. I mean database SQL. Like it's like a view. Like you have a SSAS tabular one table, and you want to have only 4 columns to be seen by user, right? So you will create a view and you will not expose all other columns. Same way, in your SSAS tabular model, you have multiple tables. Say, for example, multiple tables, 10 to 20 tables. And for sales module, there are only few tables are used, 3 to 4 tables. So someone who wants to create reports based on sales module doesn't want to see all 20 tables for finance or HR. So you will have only restricted model. I mean, from the entire model, you are exposing only sales perspective. So only 4 tables will be visible to the those who are creating sales. That is what we perspective is all about. You're just having a sub cubes, or it's not typically creating a cube. On top of the cube, you are creating some views that will have some tables or restricted. It's not more or less about a restriction or security. It's like once we create, you will get familiar with that. And let's see it in a demo. So we have deployed a model here, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 tables appearing, and we have just connected a Power BI report. I mean, from that model, we have connected to Power BI and generated some report over here. So let us make it like this. That's okay. So let me show the data source settings. Now when you click on this database, you can see this model contains all the perspective, contains this perspective. Basically the model will internally create a perspective with all the selected tables, but I want to select only the sales table so that my model will look very small. Okay, so in that case what you need to do, so basically, you can create multiple perspective. Let us try to create 2 perspectives. One for sales, another for some other finance guys, for or something like a product analysis. Okay, let me create and manage. So new perspective, I'll say sales. For them, I want to give fact sales and dim product. Only these two they want to see. So I have created sales. Next, someone with the product. Okay. I will say like our customer. customer wise sales. So I will say fact sales and you see only the customer. Okay, this is another perspective, and along with that let them have a currency also. So these three tables, a customer perspective, people customer perspective will see, and someone who have who is accessing sales will have access to only these two tables. So let me close it. So this is one of the structural change I have did, that is added a two perspective. So whatever structural changes you do in the cube, you need to deploy it. So go to Solution Explorer and click on it. Check the properties once full, that's fine. Then deploy it. Now before deploying, I already shown you, like now you come here, you see, okay, the model earlier we have seen only one model. Like when you click on it, it will have all the tables. Now you see it was deployed here, it was very quick. So now I got sales and customer perspective. When I click on sales, now you see dim product and fake internet sales, only these two is appearing. If you click on customer, the currency, customer and sales, so only these objects will appear. So I am going to sales now. Click on sales. There you go. So now you are not seeing all the objects. Instead, whatever is specific to you, you can see it. So this is basically perspective is restricting some objects specific to certain domain. It's like creating a view in your table. Okay, but it is not applicable to it. You cannot restrict a perspective. This is not useful for a security perspective. What I'm trying to say is this is not actually applying a security for the users. This is basically you're creating multiple views of your model. That is what. So now when I switch to customer perspective, I will get three tables here. There you go. So three tables over here. So this is what it is. So everything you can change it in the SSAS tabular model. So this is what a perspective is all about. We're going to see about what is direct query mode in SSAS tabular model. We have seen like what is the processing, deployment, and how you schedule, refresh, or regularly process your SSAS tabular model when your source data get updated. All of the stuffs we have seen in our previous videos. Now in this video, I'm introducing a new term called direct query mode. What it is. So it has its own advantages. Like direct query mode is like you no need to load your data into SSAS tabular model. That is, data won't be stored in memory. All your data resides in source. Then what are the disadvantages and challenges in this? Let us try to see in this. So what I'm trying to say here is like the processing option is nothing but reading data from data warehouse and loading it here. But when you have a direct query, there is no concept of processing. So no need to create the packages or any job that will read the data from data warehouse and load it here. So I have created a video, the previous video, which says like loading data from data warehouse and reading data from data warehouse and loading into SSAS. This is typically a processing task. For that you need to create SSIS. Then you need to schedule a job that should execute that SSIS package that does the job. So in direct query, you can skip those steps. You no need to create SSIS or job. When you have a direct query, your data warehouse always should be active, and your SSIS always should read from the data warehouse whenever there is a request. Assuming this scenario, when Power BI is connected to SSAS and SSAS is in direct query mode, what is typically will happen is like this will read request. Power BI will query DAX queries to SSAS, and SSAS will fire SQL because your data lies in data warehouse. So there are two-step process involved. So these are the things you need to be considered how big the data is. So when you will go for direct query, When you have a huge amount of data that will not fit into SSAS, at that time you can go for direct query. So, but in case if you are not using direct query, how this scenario will work? Even this data warehouse is offline, there is no connectivity, this SSAS still works. Power BI will ask DAX to SSAS and DAX will return immediately. So this is what advantage of using without a direct query, that is deploying entirely in SSAS. So everything has its own disadvantages and what you call disadvantages, and let us try to see how it will work. When you have imported or processed or direct query. Okay, let us see from data what are the advantages that I already covered up. Let us try to go through it quickly. So data is up to date because data is not processed. You cannot have like you have a delay when you have a processing your cube. Say for example, 2 p.m. your data is getting updated in data warehouse, and your processing jobs run every 1 hour, so it will continue at 3 o'clock only. So you need to wait for 1 more hour to get this data updated when you have a process data. In case of direct query, you have to connect directly. You are connecting to data warehouse directly, so as soon as it get updated, whenever you see the report you get the latest data. So two reasons you basically go for direct query: if your data is too huge and you do not want to wait until the process completes, the schedule refresh happens. So these are two main reasons you will go for it. So other benefits is like there is no extra management is not big deal, like you do not maintain separate copy of data, no processing, that is as I said, SSI is not required. Data sets can be higher than a memory capacity of analyst service, that is what data warehouse is can be stored. So these are the things you can go through it. So there are a lot of benefits when you should go for it, and limitations are the things you need to consider. That is like when you have choose direct query but you want to use a calculated tables, then you cannot go for it. That is what the calculated tables are not supported in direct query methods. So if your model requires some calculated tables, then you need to consider of not going for direct query. So these are some of the limitations, like query limits, and you cannot have a stored procedure in your source table while you are picking up. Some of the things listed over here, you can go through it. This is from the Microsoft website. Okay, with this note, let us try to demonstrate how this direct query works with small kind of POC. Like now we have AdventureWorks data. Now you can see the sales amount over here. Let us try to connect and get this data in the without direct query mode. So when data get updated in the database, and we will try to see in the Power BI. Okay, when without direct query mode, what happens? Then while after changing it to direct query mode, then we will see how it is quickly reflecting in the reporting layer. That is what we are going to see. Now you can see here where that option exists. Basically, like go to the solution explorer, click on the model. You need to choose the model and properties. There is option called direct query mode. You can switch it on or off. This is the simple logic I want to convey, but I'm going to demonstrate this behavior now. Let us keep it off. By default it is off. Now already we have deployed it for our demo. I will deploy it once again. So what is happening, all the data has been read. Now you can see all the data is read and stored in the SSAS tabular model. Let us try to connect this cube. I cannot copy it. Let us try to copy it from here. Okay, I'm not going to do much, just analyst service. I'm just trying to get the data, I'm connecting live. Okay, now I got the data. What I'm trying to achieve, let us see it here. Sales amount, and you can see the total. Let us try to get the entire value so that it will be clear. Now you can see 58677. Okay, now let me try to update the data in the data warehouse. What I did, I connected to Power BI. I'm reading it from SSAS. This is not connected to data warehouse anymore because it is in not a direct query. So now I will update some data in data warehouse. Let us see what happens in Power BI. So let me go through it, what column it is using, and we'll try to see it. So sales amount is using the fact internet sales amount. Let me increase 1000. Okay, so it should become 59677. So I have fact internet sales. Select star from. Okay, and I have some record. Irrespective of any record, just I will increase this particular record. That is, I don't have sales order number 63697. Okay, let me put where sales order number equals. Okay, this is fine. So let me increase the sales amount by 1000. Update fact internet sales, set sales amount equal to sales amount plus 1000. Okay, I will update whatever exists plus 1000 for this sales order number. That's fine. This seems to be reason. I mean, update the date. I mean, fact, and increase the sales by 1000 for this order. Let me update it. Now, what happened? I have changed the data. That can be incremental. I mean, as I said in the previous examples, the data is available till 25th of December. 26th, there will be 100 records. Instead of inserting 100 records, I have changed the data here. Now, this will not reflect in SSAS. Meanwhile, it is not updated in Power BI as well. So, what happened? Let us try to refresh it here. There is no change. Okay, this is because this will not automatically transfer it here until you run the job. Okay, we have already created the job here in our project, like SSAS projects. So let us try to open that one and we will manually run it. Okay, instead of running it in a job. So we already created one SSIS package that will process the cube that is reading from data warehouse and populate it here. Let us try to run this one now. Execute task. So once it is completed, now the data is available in SSAS cube, so the Power BI can able to read it since we have connect live in Power BI. Now once you refresh it, there you go, you can see an increase of 1000 amount, the sales amount here. This is what will happen if you are not using a direct query. Let us try to change this one, the connection in the SSAS to the direct query, and try to demonstrate how quickly it will reflect in Power BI. So I have changed it to on, that is direct query mode to on. As soon as you choose it, no data will appear here. See, direct query doesn't get any data, only the metadata will appearing. So you see the tabular view, you can see the difference. No data is loading because since it's a direct, but you can do the BI semantic modeling, right? I mean, the relationship, creating calculated columns, those things you can still able to do it. Now this we need to deploy it again. Okay, any changes we need to deploy it, build it and deploy it. Let us try to deploy it. So we have deployed the model. Deploy the metadata. That's it. Okay, this is fine. So now when you go and check in the, now what we will do is again we will try to increase some 100. Let us increase to make it 200 extra. Okay, so let us try to increase 200. Okay, now in this, now I didn't do anything. Okay, now I am refreshing, nothing is happening. Now when I, as soon as I update the data in database, you see here I updated here. Now I am not running the job here. Earlier what happened, after running the job only it were reflected here, then Power BI read it. Now I didn't do anything. Now you can see I updated in database. When you go to Power BI, the data is got updated here 877 without running the job. So this is what direct query will do. Like you can ignore some steps, and based on your, if your data is too huge in data warehouse and you want a live reporting, like whatever data getting updated you need it immediately, then you need to go for direct query. To implement row level security or RLS in SSAS tabular model. Let's check it out in the demo. Now, before going to look into the model, let me explain the two tables. And here you have a user access region where user can able to see different regions. So for Nagendra, you can see there are 5 regions along with 2, so 7 regions he can able to see. For Power Demo, he can able to see 6 regions. So what are those regions? So he can see from 1 to 6, and Nagendra can see from 1 to 5 and 7 8. So these are the different regions over here. So 1 to 6 means the Power Demo can see the 2 countries, United States and Canada, and whereas Nagendra can see 1 to 5 and 7 8, France and Germany. But for you need to understand the fact, like in SSAS security, Windows security, the user who should, I mean, unlike the SQL Server authentication, the SSAS works closely with Windows security. User can able to use his Windows authentication only. That is the thumb point I want to make. The first point, I will tell you why I am saying this. And with this note, let's begin. Now we have this model, the fact internet sales and dim product, and you see typical star schema surrounded by dimensions. Now we have imported this user access region where we found like 2 users accessing different regions. There can be many many users with different regions. Okay, that is why this row level security works perfectly all right, irrespective of how many users, different regions he changes, right? So you keep adding the users and respective regions over here. And one more thing is I want to highlight is like the security you need to apply at the granular level. Here the security at the region level, so you are applying this territory key, and whereas if you want to apply the country level or territory level, you need to give all the territory keys. You cannot directly link to country as we used to do in the Power BI. In Power BI, what will happen is like in the user access region table, you can keep the country name here, then you can apply the security, because you can have many to many relationship in their relationship tab. Whereas in case of SSAS, you need to give the lowest level. When you want to give access to United States, then you need to give all these 5 regions belongs to United States. That is what I want to make another point here. Now with this note, let's try to do the analysis here. Now once you import the user access region, then you give rights here, I mean 1 to many relationship for dim sales territory, then go here with new roles, right? you need to create a role and add those users in that specific role and create some DAX function. I've already created a role here like region role, and I will demonstrate once again for you. So I'm creating a new role here, that is test role, and we need to give it as read, since whoever this is purely based on role, so the particular role user can have able to read or write those things, we can see. Now going back to what things we need to configure here is like, for those tables we need to get this formula in the dim sales territory, the sales territory key to be filtered, and in this the lookup value function is used along with the username. You can see here the user access region.username is mapped with whoever logs in using a username function. Then the sales territory key from the user region is filtered using this lookup function. So usually we are getting the sales territory key from the user access region, and for that user, right, and we will filter it in the dim sales territory key. That is the logic we need to have. We will copy this code. You need to take a snapshot if you want, take the copy of this code, and for your table you need to modify accordingly based on the table. So in this role, go to this dim sales territory, then just paste this code. I'll share this code in the description as well, so just put it here. We will try to expand this a little bit better, then put it here. So now you can see this code, lookup and username. These are the two DAX functions used to filter it, and in your case you need to appropriately change your case. The user access region is no more required, and set this property to false here, FALS, false of function. That's it. These are the two configurations. You create a role, read access, then these are the two DAX functions you need to use. In the members, you need to add those members manually. This is another important step that you should aware of. So whoever present in this user access, you need to manually add those members. As I mentioned before, Power BI, the SSAS works closely with Windows authentication. So these Windows authentications users are authorized to use this particular queue. That is what we are saying. So if you have another user, you need to add it. Now I have added Power Demo. I'm not using the Nagendra because he's the admin. The admin users no need to add, right? So he has a full access. If you have some other users, you can add it. So now we have created this test role. We don't need of any this role anymore, because I already have this region role for you. That's for this demo I have created this role, so just delete it. So whatever steps we have done, I have done it using region role already here, so no need to have two roles again. So this is the thing you need to know. So we have created this role. Now let us go and deploy this solution in the dashboard, server. Once it is deployed, we can go ahead and check the data. So for that, I'm not going for Power BI. In this case, I will go for Excel. Let's go and check it out. In Excel, once you go to this, you can navigate to data, then get data. In this, from database, you need to connect to the analysis service. So data, get data from database analysis services, and provide the server name. So in this server we have got the server. So to get the server name, just connect analysis service and get this name. So this is the easy way to get the server name. just paste it here, then use different user, because Windows user, I'm admin user. When I log in using Windows, it will be admin, so I'm using different user here. That is why I went to Excel now. So just use this one, then provide the password. So once you connected here, and in the next step you choose the respective cube name. Right here you need to select the database exactly, right? So, and it is saying the warning, it is already connected. If yes, you click on yes, then use the measure. I already connected this, so that's what the measure, one of the measure created, that is sales. So let us try to get the location. I mean, now I put the sales territory key. Now what I will do, I will try to update some more territory for this Power BI demo user, and we will try to refresh the cube once again and check. This is how easily you can manage. Now the user has only the United States access. Let us try to update it. Then we will go for processing it, so that we will check the RLS, the dynamic row level security is working perfectly all right with a couple of changes. Now we have updated the record. Now we go and process the cube. There are different ways to process. I'm using I went to SSMS and process full, so that this will be effective. It is there, as I mentioned, there are various ways to process the cube. You can redeploy it, but once you deploy it, this is the way you need to process the cube. You can see once it is refreshed, there are other countries the Power BI demo user got access to. So this is the simple way to achieve your RLS in SSAS. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and comment below for queries. Do remember that data is your asset.